Hey G fans, Gojifan1993 here, and well, it's my 100th video, and I thought I'd just, talk about how I became a Godzilla fan, or what made me become a hardcore, die-hard, whatever you want to call it, loyal fan of the franchise. And where do I start? Well, when I was 2 years old, my dad showed me the very first Godzilla movie, and it just like caught my attention. And even when I was 2, and I couldn't even comprehend really movies and anything like that, but there was just the pure spectacle of what I was seeing on the screen, and I was probably just sitting at the screen and just like, ooh, but I don't remember obviously watching it, because I was 2 and I don't really remember a lot of things when I was 2, but I do remember that Godzilla 1984 was the first movie that I saw and actually comprehended and actually really remembered, and that's why it's my favorite movie, because I have so many memories with that movie. Like when it comes to the music of it, the Godzilla suit, the roar of it. Every time I hear the 1984 roar, it just gives me chills, because I just remember that. And I don't really know anything else. I mean, that really started it for me, and I really got into him from there. And then it just became, and I was born in 1993, so that was in the Heisei era, and that's why I like the Heisei series so much, because I grew up in that series. And buying toys and like little action figures was so much easier to find in American toy stores than it was nowadays. Nowadays you have to scrounge around and try to find a flea market, or try like Toys R Us has some Godzilla toys, but very little. But back in the 90s, I mean, Treadmaster was like the leading brand of selling Godzilla toys back then. They even have commercials and everything like that, and I was all over that stuff. So every time I'd go to the store when I was like 5 years old, 6 years old, 7, and I would always beg my parents, please, can I get that guy? I see him, he's like right on the front over there, and on the racks and stuff. They had so many guys. I remember Treadmaster has all these, like, they had like the combination toys. They had like Godzilla with King Ghidorah, or Godzilla with Mechagodzilla, and they had like so much like cool toys that went along with the Heisei era. And there was this one time when I saw the, I'll probably put a picture up of it, but it was this big Godzilla guy, and I actually have him in my collection now. When I first saw him, I don't remember how old I was, but I was probably like 5, 6, or 7, and I saw him. I was like, "Oh, Mom, can I please get this guy? Can I please get him?" And obviously they were like, "Oh no, we don't have the money for it." And I'm just like, "Oh, please." And they're like, "Well, if you save up money and do chores and stuff like that, then we'll get it for you the next time." So I was like, okay. So I did all the things, did all my chores and all that, and then when it was finally time, I think it was like a week later or maybe 2 weeks later, and I was actually able to go back to the toy store, and it was gone. It was sold out, and I was just like, I was so heartbroken, because it was this awesome figure. It was maybe about like this big. And you guys probably know, like I said, I'll put a picture of it, and it was the worst feeling ever when I couldn't have it. I was just like, oh, come on, I worked so hard to get it, no. So then with the collecting the figures and obviously getting the VHS movies, but there was still a crap ton that I didn't know about Godzilla. I didn't know about Godzilla vs. Biollante. I didn't know about a lot of the Showa movies. Obviously the Millennium series didn't exist right now, so that didn't matter. But I didn't know about Hedorah. I didn't know about Godzilla's Revenge. I didn't know about Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. But then I started to go to the video stores and found the VHS tapes. I don't remember what the company was, but they had a line of these tapes, and I remember buying some VHS tapes, and there was this, we were in like the mall or something like that, and in some kind of glasses place, and we saw. There was this guy that was sitting next to me, and he was actually talking to me about, you know, he has all the Godzilla movies, and he has all this. He was telling me like all there were like so many more Godzilla movies than I even knew, and I was like, wait a minute, that means that there's like so much more that I need to get. Okay, you know. So then I went on the internet, like it was like one of the first times I ever went on the internet, and I was like, oh, this thing's amazing, the internet, that was cool. And I remember this is the 90s, so obviously the internet wasn't as, you know, crazy as it is now. So, but I would go on the internet and find Godzilla toys and movies that way, and that just opened my world to, you know, more information on the franchise and stuff like that. And then I was about in probably end of middle school, high school, and I was that's when the Millennium series was out. And oh, actually, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. 1998, I remember all the advertisement for the American Godzilla movie, and just like me and other Godzilla fans, we were so excited about it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. I got a lot of merchandise for it. I have this like cup holder, which is like Zilla's, you know, kind of wrapped around it with his head right here and stuff, and then I had some action figures. I also had this big guy. He's destroyed now, I don't know where he is, but I had this like big figure of him, and then I got like a big poster of the Zilla movie and stuff like that, or, you know, the American Godzilla. And then it was finally time where it came out in theaters, and I went and watched it. Now, as a little kid, I mean, because I was still little, I wasn't really like, you know, full on like a critic like I am now. And, you know, of course I liked it because I was a kid and it was like all, you know, flashy and stuff like that. But there was a little bit inside of me that still said, this isn't Godzilla, you know. There was like that little piece of me that was a little bit disappointed in the movie. And so once that all was done, and then right at, you know, a year later, all of a sudden Godzilla 2000 is announced, and I just my head explodes and I just go crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, a new Godzilla movie already. That's awesome. It's only been like, what, a year, and it's already, you know, So I remember that there wasn't as much marketing, obviously, because it was Japanese, and, you know, Americans hate foreign films, so I couldn't get a lot of merchandise like I did the American Godzilla. But I remember on the day, went to go see it in the theaters with my family, and that first opening scene where Godzilla's eye is like, you know, in the screen, and it opens, and then the guy's like, oh, he freaks out and then breaks the top. I mean, like, I was just shitting my pants when that part happened, and that whole movie, I loved it. I even remember sitting through the credits, just listening to the end credits, because it was the original Godzilla score, and I was just sitting there, and I was just like, oh, this is awesome, this is great. So left the theater very satisfied at that one, and then got it on VHS when it came out for you know, homes, and then it was kind of, I don't remember much after that. I mean, it was just kind of more, you know, just me collecting as much as I could, or what I could find, because then, you know, the Millennium series it wasn't heavily advertised for toys like it was with Treadmaster back in the 90s, so it was getting really hard to find stuff. And then I started, like I said, maybe middle of middle school, or anyway, or the beginning of high school, where I started to collect all the Godzilla movies on DVD, because all of them now were on DVD. But little did I know that Biollante was really hard to find, and Megalon was really hard. Godzilla vs. Megalon, I don't know. Oh, and 1984 was really hard to find on DVD. I'm not even sure if those were released in DVD. I mean, obviously now it's easier to find them, but back then I had to get, like, I don't know, I went on the internet, I found like bootlegged versions of Megalon and Biollante and 1984, because when I got them from I think it was eBay or something like that, and I opened the disc, or opened the case, and there was just a blank disc, and when I put it into DVD, it was just this like bland main menu with, you know, the video, and then I clicked on it, and then basically it was like VHS quality on a DVD. So I was like, oh, okay, it was probably just someone ripped the VHS and then put it on a disc and then sold it. So I got pretty much ripped off, but, you know. And then then on eBay I also found, you know, the 1984 Godzilla movie on DVD. It was more legit, But the problem is that I didn't know, because I was little, I didn't know about region locked. I got the 1984 disc, and when I popped it in, it said, "Oh, it can't play because it's region locked." And I was like, "What the heck?" And I looked back, and it had a 3 on it, the region code 3, which is Hong Kong. It was the Hong Kong version, China version, so I couldn't play it. And I was like, great. Except for, if you have a computer, you can hack into it and still play it. So I have been able to see the movie on that disc. It's just when I first got it, I didn't know how to hack into it and do that. But yeah, and then I think it was around sophomore year or junior year when I think it was sophomore, when I actually got every Godzilla movie on DVD, and I was very happy about that. And basically I just kept on, getting more action figures when I could. I, went to flea markets, went to Toys R Us, and they have some, and it's just been very hard to get some. And the ones that are really cool are extremely expensive. I've been still trying to get a Bandai Creation Mechagodzilla 74 guy, not the one where that you can see through them and they're like sparkly. I'm talking about like the real one, like the solid one, and like those things are like $40 on eBay, and I don't have that kind of cash. But so yeah, and lately, it is super hard to be a fan of Godzilla nowadays. I mean, it's like a drought, and then it was like when, I think it was 2007 or something, when we first heard about that Godzilla 3D IMAX thing. That was like a 40 or 45 minute movie or something like that, and I don't know what happened to that. Even when I was in, let's see, and then Final Wars came out in 2004, so that means I was in 4th grade. And what really sucks about that is I didn't know that was the last Godzilla movie. It was around 2007 when I discovered that Final Wars was the last movie. And that was really depressing, because then it was like, wait a minute, that means there hasn't been a Godzilla movie since 2004? Oh, so it just made waiting for a new movie just even longer, and still haven't gotten one. But yeah, and then there was rumors about a Godzilla vs. Gamera fan film or something like that, and I actually followed it real hard and found information on it, but it was like a fake thing or something like that. And then also when I was in, what was it? Let's see, I think it was elementary also, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters came out on the GameCube. I had to save up my $50 to go get that game, and I loved it. And then I bought Save the Earth when that came out, and then when Unleashed was announced in like 2006 or something like that, I followed that sucker all through until it was released on the internet. I kept on going to that website that would show you the new player cards, like it would show you like Godzilla's card, and they would be like animated cards, and I followed that until the day it came out. And that was pretty cool too. And right now, basically, just excited about the American Godzilla film in 2014. And I do think it'll be better, because Gareth Edwards I think that's how you pronounce his name. I think he gets it. I think he understands how a Godzilla movie should be made. So let's hope to that, and let's hope Toho makes another Japanese Godzilla movie soon, because they have that footage. If you guys look on YouTube, there's like footage of this like game machine in Japan, and it's like a gambling machine. I don't know what it is, but there's like actual footage of like Godzilla 2000 fighting Gigan from Final Wars, and like Anguirus is there, and I think Rodan was in there, something like that, and they're like fighting each other. It's not slowed down, so it's kind of cheap looking, but it's like that's footage. Like, okay, if Toho has enough money to still do that, then why are they not making a new movie? But so anyways, yeah, so that's basically my Godzilla career, or not Godzilla career, but like my fandom, I guess, of being a Godzilla fan for till I was 2 to now being 19. So yeah, so hope some of you guys enjoyed it. I know it was probably a boring video, but I just wanted to do something different for like my 100th video. Yeah, so and leave in the comments of your guys's Godzilla being a fan and experiences and stuff like that, and I'd love to read them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So stay big, G fans.